Cool. I think we are live. Hi, everyone. I am Sriya, co founder and CEO of Persana AI. And welcome back to our webinar series where we showcase our amazing integration partners and also help you learn a little bit more about the people behind these integrations and their journeys in B2B SaaS. Today, the topic is also about how, strategies to actually get replies with cold emails. And I have nobody else but an amazing expert, Margaret, here. So quickly wanted to introduce what Persona AI is for people who might not know, and then I'll hand it over to Margaret to give a quick intro and go into Woodpecker. So Persona AI is the prospecting super app powered by AI agents. We have 75 plus data sources and integrations and more counting each week, and so lucky to have our Woodpecker integration finally live today. So thank you so much, Margaret and team, for working with us. We are thrilled to have this integration live and going and provide value to both of our customers and users. And would love to pass it over to you to give a short intro and give a short intro of what Woodpecker is as well.
Sure, amazing. Thanks a lot. So first of all, I'm very excited to announce this integration as well because Woodpecker is a tool that's like high level. We are made to get your messages delivered because sending messages is not actually that much of a problem, but hitting the main inbox is what really challenges B2B salespeople. And that's why I'm so excited about Persona, because in the first place, B2B sales has changed a lot. And right now, it's nothing comparing to what we've seen like 5 years ago or 4 years ago. I've been related to cold emailing for the last 9 years. So that was an exciting journey. And tools like Persona helps us to get this hyper personalization to the next level, to get relevant context. And you can't do efficient job in cold emailing without that. So I'm very excited to have this conversation to share a bit of our insights on how to do efficient sales right now. And yeah.
Awesome. So before going into like Woodpecker efficient sales, would love to learn a little bit more about your personal journey in this space. So I saw you were a PhD in law. So how from law to cold email, software, B2B SaaS, how are these worlds related? What is your journey here? And you're quite an expert, 9 years in the cold email space. So I think you've seen more iterations of SaaS and B2B than me. So I would love to learn about your journey so far and what you have seen in this transition as well.
Sure. So that's been actually quite of a journey because I joined Woodpecker at very early stage when I was still studying. And there is not much common between cold emailing and law, but there is one thing that combines those two things. You need to be persistent to get any success in any of those fields. So probably that what drives me to like be here and push every day in terms of like what results we get. But I joined Woodpecker as a junior supporter. I'm not sure if everyone knows that was the way, but that was very early stage of the company. And currently I'm a CEO. So that was a big part of my career and my life to be here and to build up the company from many angles. And, I think that with B2B sales, because I worked in the industry for 9 years, and I survived like at least 5 deaths of cold emailing. That's very like mortal, saying like, hey, now we'll have different channels of communication. And then again, it's a great channel and so on and so forth. I still believe it works amazingly if you do it well. But you need to have this repetitive good patterns to like get results. And that's like my aspiration, to get Woodpecker to the place where the software does the heavy lifting for you. And you just need to be creative, find your market, and do amazing products that all of our customers are doing. So that's the angle. But it's been quite of a journey.
Yeah, and I think like 2 points that I like that you said is like persistency is key. I know so many people who've never done cold email or outbound before that come and just are like, I sent one email, why is no one responding to me? I was like, do you have the setup? Do you have warm up? Do you have syntax and all these it's a lot more technical, I would say, this initial setup and foundation than people think. And then second thing is how many LinkedIn rage bait stuff are supposed to like cold email is dead, SDR is gone, like all this stuff. But why does that still persist, right? Like why is it still there? Why is that still honestly getting replies even for Persona? We use outbound motions as well. So would love to know, I guess, from your side, like at a very high level. So you said persistency is key. Any other tips from like just like the psychology of cold emails? Because there is the technical setup and everything. We can kind of go into those details and hacks, but like at a very high level, right? Like people are like, how do I communicate my value prop? Like it comes down to human psychology. So would love to like hear your thoughts around that.
Sure. So I also think that awareness changed a lot because, let's be very honest, 5 or 6 years ago, cold emails that we were all sending were
Yeah.
quite far from being a masterpieces, and they worked.
Yeah.
And what changed is the volume of information that you get because, like, you're very active on LinkedIn. I try to be active there as well. When you go,
Mhm.
you see how much messages and communication you get, and usually it's very much directed on me angle. So it's like, hey, I have this, and this is wonderful, and I can help you. I can save your business, whatever else is there. And I think that with cold emailing, you need to switch that. So this is like you communication because when you like ask someone to sacrifice their time, usually you should be focused on the other person, not yourself and your business, regardless how awesome your business is. So I think when we talk about psychology, it's kind of fair to say that we all enjoy listening about like how you can solve my problems, then how amazing you are, that as the ultimate outcome somewhere in the future you can help me, because that's very simple, but that's also very natural. And also I think that what I see still is the very long emails, which is kind of counterintuitive because we usually open those on like our phones, and I don't read my emails on my computer anymore because I don't have time for it. So I just scroll it through like while eating dinner. And regardless how sad it is, this is the reality we are working on. So also optimize for this one because the psychologist works usually like this. If I can't read it conveniently, I just won't read it. It's not like I'll come back to it. So, focus on the other person, focus on the person that you are reaching out to, and find a way to be convenient to listen.
Yeah, providing value first without like rambling on. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of goes into like another point. I'd love to hear your thoughts about like, obviously AI has been a game changer. People leveraging it has been great, but it's also increased in spam, right? So how can we use like AI, but also in a way that's like crisp, in a way that's getting us replies instead of like,
Mhm.
even now I can tell when I like read an email, it's like a AI generated message. I'm like, like I just like spam, right away. So would love to hear your thoughts on like, especially building like a cold email software, right? Like what have you guys seen that's shown success with AI? What are your like things where you're like, hey, don't do this with AI. This is not what it should be used for.
Yeah. So I would say that the first big bump with AI was that, AI can do everything instead of people. And ultimately, at some point, probably the technology will grow. But, it's also very visible if you're not very advanced in prompting that actually your content is AI generated. So I would say the first thing that you should have in the back of your head is that it's better to oversee some parts of the process or to make sure that you put enough like quality and double checks into what you send, because when other person feels that this is just AI generated content sent on a scale, the chances that they will reply is pretty low. So that's one thing. But on the positive side, like for example at Woodpecker, we took the approach of plugging in AI to the processes that demands a lot of like manual work that are just very painful, or you need to employ people to have it, and this is not very appealing job to get done. So for example, our lead agencies, they were communicating to us that basically you need to classify your leads. So if you get replies, you need to know if that's interested, not interested, or just like some maybe later, I don't know yet. And we have AI system that is deployed on our infrastructure that classifies those replies for our users in basically all languages that are available. So you don't have to do it manually. You just get your leads ready to go in your CRM, no extra work done. So we try to find these spaces to automate and to make it easier to scale up, instead of like doing just one-stop shop that AI does everything that is out there. But ultimately, I feel like copywriting is one of the first things that AI can help you. Mostly because, when you think about that, if you send a cold email campaign, and let's say you have opening emails and 3 follow-ups, you actually quote your opening email in each follow-up, right? Because they are sent in a thread. So it means that anti-spam filters get feedback about your content that you sent 4 times if you have 3 follow-ups and opening message. So it means to be on the safe side, you should change on regular basis the content that you send, because The more you send the same content, the higher are chances that you will get blacklisted. That's kind of like very obvious logic. And now creativity has its limits. So if you have to switch your content every month, you will eventually run into a situation that you don't have idea how to change it anymore. So you're just running around the same circle. And then AI is awesome because you can actually get this work done for you, just overview it and then send it.
Definitely. And then let's just touch a little bit. So copywriting is important, keeping it crisp, providing value to the customer, not just rambling on. And I think also I hear some other companies call it like the mobile test, right? Like I feel like executives or decision makers really like 90% of the time I'm answering, I'm viewing emails on my phone. Like first thing I woke up today morning, I checked the phone for any Slack. So
Yeah.
if it's like I have to even scroll for it, like it's gonna go over my head. Let's touch a little bit on the any of the technical setup. So I saw you guys also launch like spin tax and things like that. What are these terminologies for anyone who might not know? Could you walk me through, like, I know there's like warm up, like deliverability, spin tax. Can you walk me through what are some of those stuff that you're like must haves before even sending your first email campaign?
Absolutely. So one important thing about deliverability, because personally I'm a big fan, even though I know that that's a bit of a pain for all of us who are sending something, it's more than one thing. So usually when we, for example, talk about deliverability at Woodpecker, we talk about the layer of what you send, so the quality of your content and the quality of your data. Then there is a technical layer of your domain setup. And then there is like a whole bunch of if you're sending something for too long and it got blacklisted. So this is like, those are the angles that are there. And there is like, let's say, a basic setup that you should have. So for example, if you set up your domain today, it may not work the best if you start sending today, because there's such a things like domain reputation, and it will be very difficult to scale up. So that's how the industry came up with warm-up process, which simulates natural sending, and then ultimately you should get better reputation so you can send on scale. So this is for the warm-up, and then it goes along with all technical setup. So for example, to send emails efficiently, you should configure your domain and take care of like how it's set up to be on the safe side. Fortunately, there are tools that can do it for you and can help you to test, so you're not on your own with the process. And then there is a layer of how you send and what. So this is when, for example, spin text comes in, and whole personalization and context-based sending and hyper-personalization ultimately. Because the goal is to try to send messages that are different from each other. And like, it's not real personalization if you just use hi first name and then the content is the same, because anti-spam filters are smart enough that they can detect that you just have one variable. So the more changing elements you have in your content, the better and the safest it is for your deliverability. And that's how it basically comes one after another. And then you also have the whole layer of technical setup of your tool, because your tool can actually influence the safety of your sending. So the quality of IPs, the IP rotation, and everything what is related to your sending infrastructure. But high level, this is it. And this is also very important to know that right now we are shifting towards quality sending. And this is visible with all changes that are done by Google or by Microsoft, that, it's more and more difficult to send very generic content on scale. So using personalization, like really hyper personalization and smartly created ICPs, it what gives you the scale, because then your content is very different and it sounds more natural. So you are like basically on a safe side in terms of anti-spam filters scanning you.
Yeah, 100%. I think these are all the nitty gritty aspects of like cold email that people, I say it's like you don't want to do it, but you have to do it. And it's like, once you do it and you like, it's like, think of it like laying foundations for a house, right? You need to get the foundations correct before you go
Yeah.
into the interior design and like, buying furniture. Foundations need to be correct for it to be stable, and a channel that works for you. Um, and then any kind of other kind, like, so we talked about copy, we talked about like domain setup, deliverability, the technical aspect of it. any other, like, I guess for like the advanced people, tips and tricks that you have apart from these two things that you would like to share with anyone, like, hey, this is like a nifty thing, or hey, this is a personalization that's worked well, anything around that you'd like to share, or you've seen your customers or clients do?
Sure. So I would say it's always about refining basics, even though it sounds extremely boring. But we also advise customers who are like advanced. They run their lead gen agencies or businesses for years. They have been familiar with cold emailing, and it's very important to like understand the basics, but also look at the scale. Because let me give you an example. 2 years ago, to send 1K emails, that I would say that was doable to go through with 3 to 5 mailboxes. I would say that was quite okay. I wouldn't say that today. And even if that worked for your business and you were very advanced at that point, you need to like adapt to the change that is going on. And also, like, the same with a copy. If you know your targeted group very well and you stick to your copy because you believe it's awesome, it's not necessarily your prospects who doesn't like your copy. It may be anti-spam filters. So, I would say for advanced users, it's always to try to track back to the basics and refine it honestly. Like, did I actually, do the work there to be up to date? And for like very advanced users, I would also highlight the fact that we know, in fact, we analyze Google and Microsoft on like daily basis. We check how the deliverability flows. So the aspect of inbox placement in terms of how your message seems to be relevant in the inbox is growing. So if you think about writing your copy, the better copy you get, the higher are chances that your prospect will come back to it, and it gives you better inbox placement in terms of engagement. Because when you think from a perspective like being, let's say, a product owner at Google, I want to master inbox product. What are you going to do? You'll try to get some kind of selective approach, so your users will see only relevant messages. And of course, they'll do something like promoting messages that get more views and stuff like this. And we know that this is in fact happening. So when you send cold emailing, it's extremely important to try to build a narrative that will motivate people to come back to your message, because this is something would boost your deliverability in like massive way, especially long term. So it's always trying to find a way to keep your audience attracted. And I would say right now, it's very difficult to do scalable cold emailing without brand awareness. I know it sounds obvious and not very like directly related, but if someone is reaching out to you and you seem familiar to them, so like they know you from LinkedIn, they like heard of you, they know your brand, or at least you're not just a stranger, the chances that they will reply is just higher. And because they don't feel like you're just some kind of random person from the internet reaching out to sell, because ultimately that's the worst impression you can get. So I would say when you think about modern outbound, you need to also think about how your brand is being perceived.
Definitely, I think like it goes hand in hand now. If you're just like, especially in like our industry, or especially honestly any industry I've seen, like first I just thought it was like GTM or sales tech, but now I'm seeing founders in every industry, founders, and not just the founders, honestly, I've seen the teammates as well, right? Like building like the company's brand together, sharing customer stories, and that builds that, like, apart from like domain reputation, it builds that, like, social reputation, I guess you can say, right, with the branding and building. So we have about 10 minutes. I'd love to share in the last 10 minutes, how does this integration work? We can quickly walk through both of the platforms, and yeah, any questions or closing remarks, we can go to that afterwards as well. That sounds good.
Yep.
Awesome. So I will share my screen. Give me 1 second. Do you guys see my screen of the Persona platform?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, this is a little overview of our platform and dashboard. So I just got here. You can build the list. I already built the table here of these leads. And within Persona, you can get a lot of different data enrichments. Over here, you can find people, companies, go deeper with their quantum agent, do Google search at scale, phone numbers, email, waterfall, all that good stuff. So did a lot of honestly getting the contact data of these people. So I ran it through a waterfall email. I also ran it through our phone number waterfall of using these different providers. I ran a query with our agent. So this is our most advanced AI agent, and this one is able to do multi-step web research at scale. So I just put in the company website as a dynamic variable here, and then I identified what is all the products and services that they give. And you can see over here that it is able to go to this website, getting all this information and reason, and just doing that all at scale. And after this, I just also got in like, what is the degree that they got? Where did they study? Because I wanted to do a personalization based on their education and schooling. Quickly generated some AI messages. And then we want to add the prospects to Woodpecker. So you can add in your own API key here. You can choose the campaign, and then you can send in all this details and information, like that you want to send to Woodpecker. So I'm sending in the phone number, LinkedIn, personalization. If you wanted to even send any custom fields, so I wanted to send the generated sales emails, I just sent that as a custom field into Woodpecker. And that is where my whole like sequencing, email setup, and all that fun stuff is going to happen. And in Persona, if you have any sort of automatic process as well, if you're like continuously leads are flowing in or coming from a CRM, we also have an auto run feature where you can continuously do these workflows at scale. So yeah, once it goes into Woodpecker, Margaret, do you want to quickly give us a tour around the platform?
Sure, why not? I'll try to be very quick, not to worry too much. But I also highly encourage all of you who want to test out Woodpecker, if you need a bit more time than our regular trial to just test out and see around, please ping me on LinkedIn. Yeah, and I'll be happy to chat, happy to give you a tour and potentially a bit longer trial if you want to test out. So just to give you, I think you should be able to see my screen by now. Any data that you get from Persona, you can basically upload them directly to your campaign. You can also see them in the prospects tab if you would like to manage them for whatever reason or need you have. We have multi-level management of prospects. So basically, you'll be able to see every data that we have ever processed in the main prospects tab, which is just available here. And you can go through it, adjust it, work according to your particular needs. And then in terms of campaigns, you have few options out there. So I'll just edit our sample campaign. Also, if you need like just a bit of a tour, but you don't want to watch a demo, you can use our sample campaign to look around and see what options are there. Our interface is pretty simple, so we'll be able to see every detail that is out there just a few clicks. Actually, Spintax that you just mentioned is in our test campaign. So if you're wondering how the Spintax looks like, you can just see the process just directly in the sample campaign. And it's pretty simple. After you get data from Persona, you just upload them to the campaign. You have option to edit, to adjust your campaign, to use any personalization that is needed, to use Spintax also if you want to like wrap it up on like how your content looks like. Then if you're very keen to play with your deliverability and be on the safe side, I would highly recommend you to use versions. So you can do A/B testing, add extra version, generate your content with AI if you're not like feeling like drafting everything yourself. So you have a bit of assistance there. And then just hit in what timeline you want to send. So you're sending in weekdays or whatever other preference you have. Just a small thing, if you would like to send your prospect's time zone, we also have automatic detection of prospect's time zone. So you're sending to people from different parts of the world and you don't want to hit someone 3 a.m., which I fully understand. We can detect that for you. You can just have an option to take that. And then you just build up your campaign so you can add extra steps. You can actually also play with conditions if you want to. So our campaigns are built in a way that you have elements of a sequence. This is, for example, email, but you can also try to play up with other elements like LinkedIn automation, LinkedIn semi-automation, because we've heard from some of our users that they prefer to do manual actions on LinkedIn. That's, for example, if you have a very valuable account, you don't want to do automation risking that you will be blocked at some point, or that there will be any risks. You have also that. So you can just scale up the campaign as you want to, with email, with LinkedIn, with tasks, with calls, with text messages. That's up to you in terms of semi-manual action or full automations. And then with the length and with the weights, because our campaigns allow you to define how long you want to wait before following up on the person. And then also with a condition, you can play a bit and say, like, if someone has opened my email, or if someone has clicked on a link or has a certain snippet filled up, then the content that is there differs. So it's basically the matter of creativity, how you want to wrap up and how persistent you want to be in reaching out to a particular person. Very important thing that we are very proud of at Woodpecker: if you have reached out to someone, we'll keep you safe. You will not re-reach this person unintentionally. So, if you're afraid that, hey, I'm not sure if I can send the campaign again because maybe there is a person that I have already contacted, do not worry. We keep an eye on it, and we have separate databases for every client under agency, if you're an agency. So you'll have pretty safe space there to try out different things about Woodpecker. We also have warm-up. We also have the ability to send based on the account. So if you are doing account-based selling, so you send to multiple people from one organization, we'll keep an eye on not repeating the contact if someone replied. So that's a quite complex platform. So I would say my CTA for you, if you're really interested in like how it works, is just go and try. If you want extensive trial, just let me know. I will be happy to give you a better offer on that. And by the way, I will be super excited to meet you. So anytime we can chat on LinkedIn or on a call, it's very exciting to me. So please feel free and be invited to reach out.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think we're reaching the end of our webinar. Would love to, I guess, leave it with maybe like a fun fact or, unknown story from the days of like, you've been with Woodpecker for a long time as well. So we'd love to hear like a quick fun story or fun fact with your journey for Woodpecker, and then we can kind of wrap it up from there.
Sure. So I'm not sure if this is a fun story, but this is like shows the level of excitement that we have to build the product on for our users. Every time we are releasing new feature, regardless if this is paid or for free, we just have it launched. And both me and our CTO Maciej, we are usually sitting until like super late at night, and we are chatting on Slack and like, hey, you've seen there was one person, he clicked here. That's so amazing. And it's like 11 p.m. Sunday, and two adult people are just like, look, this person can't find it. We need to fix it. So I know it's probably not the healthiest pattern of communicating, but we've been working with Maciej for 9 years as well. So we can allow ourselves to be in this place.
Yeah.
And like we are really open to feedback and excited to bring the value to our customers. So
Yeah, no, I think that's the best part of like, especially when you do like any sort of new feature launch, like looking over the recordings or seeing how the customers use it. Or I think best is, I mean, it's both are great, but it's like when you're like, hey, I have no idea how to use it. You're like, oh my God. Or they're like, hey, I love getting value here. And I'm like, yes, but yeah, usually it's the other way around until things kind of get the nooks and crannies done. But yeah, I think that's the story of almost every SaaS company out there. It's like, okay, fix the bugs here and there. But I think that's one of the most best parts, honestly, about building a company. And yeah, I think thank you so much, Margaret. Loved having you here. The Woodpecker Persona integration is live. We should also have blog posts as well detailing how you can use it. If you have any questions, as Margaret mentioned, you can always ping me or Margaret, and happy to chat and help you out there. And yeah, like happy cold emailing, everyone. Hope you land in the primary. Good luck to everyone. And yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
thanks a lot.